The Wedding Favor, Part 19. Ella stays in a pensive mood for the rest of the drive. Once they arrive, she doesn't wait for Damien to open the door for her. She's out and off to the tailor like a woman with a mission. Damien is elated as he rushes to catch up to her. This is the Ella that told him off for thinking he could drive her car, not the demure one who doesn't dare speak her mind. She's strutting with her chin raised up until they enter the store, and Frank welcomes them with a grin. That's when she deflates a bit. When the tailor leads them to the back area for fitting, Ella follows, back straight, but eyes flitting everywhere, even to Damien. Damien ends up leaning against the wall like he did last time, settling down to watch Ella show off everything Frank has made for her. Ella looks like a child in a candy shop. Her eyes light up with every new outfit Frank shows her. He based his looks on the pictures Damien sent him, and every single piece is a hit with Ella. The soft sweaters, the fitted jeans, the understated shirts, all of the clothes are similar to what she wears now, except they actually fit her and are crafted with quality materials. Frank took the liberty of throwing in some fancier articles, but even those Ella likes. She's so positive and grateful that even Frank's flattered. And then she puts on the dress. She is a vision. Ella would look right at home at one of the galas his clients throw every so often. The dress wraps around her figure in sheets of silk, with the occasional thin strip of skin appearing between them. A large ornamental buckle accentuates the thinnest part of her waist. One curl brushes the nape of her neck and snatches on the drooping pearl earring she's now sporting. Of course, Frank paid attention to the accessories. The floor-length skirt hides her feet from view, at least until Frank starts hemming up the dress. Even her shoes look beautiful on her. Ella moves, and her dress flows like a wave around her. Damien actually feels envious of the silk sliding over her skin. He wants to glide his fingers along the edges of the fabric, disappearing underneath occasionally, just to make her gasp. One of her shapely legs appears between folds of silk, and Damien wants to run his hands over them, grabbing and hoisting her up against a wall, wrapping those legs around his hips. A chuckle draws Damien out of his daydream. "I guess the dress has your approval?" Damien has to clear his throat before he can answer. "Yes, very much." The way Ella laughs with abandon, her head tilting back and her shoulders shaking, opens a floodway for Damien's daydreams. He can see her on his arm while traveling the globe, dressed to the nines, pointing out funny little things wherever she goes. They'd dine on the Eiffel Tower and kiss under the starry sky like in a sappy romance movie. On second thought, they'd better go to Italy to visit the main seat of one of those big car brands, like Ferrari. His mother has connections there. She can fix them a drive in one of those antique cars. She'd love to send him off to Italy with a girl. Amber was never... Damien snaps out of it. Remembering that woman ruins any and all daydreams. Ella disappears back into the dressing room, skin flushed with happiness. Frank comes up to Damien with a knowing look in his eyes. Damien brushes him off before he can open his mouth to comment. "Do you have a suitcase for the clothes?" The smile on Frank's face drops as he returns to his professional demeanor. "I can get one before I finish with her dress. Shall we check your tuxedo?" He ushers Damien into his own dressing room where his outfit is already waiting for him. Damien's tuxedo is a simple black with accents in the same fabric as Ella's dress. The waistcoat has finishes in blue, and the dark bow tie has subtle lighter lines crisscrossing into a barely visible pattern. Damien shrugs the jacket on as he walks out of his dressing room, Timin Trenchfreim, disliking the lightweight of the outfit. He'd much prefer the heavier feel of a suit. Damien freezes at the sound that comes out of Ella's mouth when she notices him. She tries to smother the squeak behind a hand, but there's no hiding the big eyes and the red cheeks. Well, the way Ella can't keep her eyes off of him shows just how much she likes the tuxedo. Damien smirks. Guess the tuxedo is a hit too. Ella turns away from Damien to gather herself. She ends up staring at the pile of clothes she put on today. They're all nicely folded, of course. There are just so many of them. Damien has seen her closet. There's no room in there for these clothes. She's probably trying to figure out how to store them and how to get them to the wedding venue. How many do I choose? How do I choose? Frank stops fussing with Damien's sleeve to stare at her. Damien stares at her. Ella looks even more embarrassed and stares at the ground. Damien is the first to recover. "You don't choose. They're all for you." Ella's eyes turn even larger as she turns back to the pile of clothes. "But there's so many. I don't have room for so many clothes. I don't even have a bag big enough to fit all of these. which defeats the purpose of getting all of them because I can't take them to the wedding, which is the sole purpose I'm getting them. Frank waves her off. Don't worry. I'm getting you a good suitcase. It's already been arranged. You can take some to wear for now. He glances at the bare skin showing between Ella's thighs, and Damien narrows his eyes in warning. It's not necessary. Frank looks away immediately. And I'll have the rest sent to Damien's penthouse with the dress when I'm finished with it. It will be there tomorrow evening, just in time for a luggage check before your flight. My flight, she turns to Damien. When is my flight? Wednesday at 5 a.m. We'll have to leave at 4 tomorrow night. Ella groans. That's so early. I'll have to get up at like 2 or something. Just stay in my guest room. I don't mind. I'm having someone take my things to the plane. They can take yours as well. It'll give you more time to sleep. Ella stares at Damien while biting her lip for a moment. Can't you tell the plane to leave later? I was counting on an afternoon flight. You can do that, right? It's your plane. It's not going to leave without you. There is such a thing as flight plans. The 5 a.m. slot was open. Damien shrugs. Ish. What's the use of a private plane then? Privacy. Ella nods hesitantly. She stares at the pile of clothes, not making a choice whatsoever. Damien steps closer, only to be stopped by Ella's head snapping towards him with narrowed eyes when he gets too close. He moves towards the stack instead. Can I make a suggestion? Ella nods again, relieved this time. This outfit for the plane, it's comfortable and warm enough for the plane, but you can ditch the sweater when we get to the resort. He fishes out a pencil skirt and a shirt and hesitates before offering them to Ella. Do you want to go to dinner tomorrow? I know a place where you'd look marvelous in this. Her mouth drops open, one corner of her mouth quirking up. She stops herself before she can agree. I have so much to do tomorrow. I really was counting on having a full morning to get ready. I still have work tomorrow. You'll. She looks up at Damien with a cocked head and large eyes. You'll make sure all the new clothes get packed? Damien's heart jumps. He'll do anything she asks of him. Absolutely. The grin Ella throws him in answer will warm him for decades to come.